power of love, the power of love. Come and listen to the stories that change the way that you see, the things that you hear will help you to feel empowered every day.
Hello and welcome to the Power of Love, exploring the most powerful force on earth. I'm your host, Mia Saenz. And in this episode, you get to meet some new people to me, but I've already decided that I really like them a lot. And I them. So it's Tracy LaFleur, beautiful name, and it's Tate Kerkhoff. So welcome, guys.
And Thank you for having us.
Yes. And so I got to meet them recently. They answered a little ad thingy that I was looking for amazing love teachers that I haven't met yet. And so this is a really beautiful experience for me, and I hope for them, and I know it will be for you guys out in the audience. They're matchmakers. They're love relationship coaches. They work with couples. They are a couple. It's a really beautiful thing when love can be expressed by those who practice. So welcome you guys to the show. It's great to have you.
So, Thank you. That's a wonderful introduction. Can you do that for us every time? Or can
sure.
Yeah.
I actually do these on how I feel because, as I told you in the beginning, I can't read bios. And so I want to open my heart. And so
that's wonderful.
Thank you. So the question that I've begun all of these episodes with is, what does love mean to you? And so each of you, I'd like to hear.
Well, I will say that I'm going on 42. I think it was almost 41 years of my life that I was trying to figure out what love is to start with. I don't think I ever knew. It's definitely not something that was modeled for me growing up. Like a lot of us, love was really conditional. And I think I spent life trying to find validation more than love. And I thought for a long time that love had an agenda. If I do this, I'll get this back, or I love you this way and you love me that way, etc. So for me, what I've discovered in the last year, which really came from my self-love journey and meeting Tate, is I think that love to me is presence, and love is acceptance, and learning really that love is in this moment right now. And we can't really be open to it or feel it unless we're here right now, right? Because we're stuck in that old shit that happened in the past, or we're in the future planning, doomsday of whatever, and we can't really be open to the experience. And yeah, just the presence, the no agenda, like when you're open, not looking for something, you could feel it the most.
Really powerful.
Yeah, so for me, and it came also from the reflection from within, feeling the love for myself, accepting myself opened me up to the love of a partner, to just being alive. Like every day felt better. Yeah,
it's awesome.
I don't know if that fully answers it. It's talking in circles, but
no,
I feel like it's hard. Love is a felt thing, right? It's something, and the more you step into that space of love, it's just the feeling that's there where you're like, whoa, what is this? Like this heart opening. Yeah.
And we're gonna talk more on that in a minute. We want to hear faces, and I love the heart opening. Yeah.
I mean, I can echo all of that. I think for me, it came down to a similar, this is probably why Tracy and I were drawn to each other, is we have kind of similar upbringings and backgrounds and experiences. And for me, it's not, so love is what you do when you don't want to do it. Like it's something that I've been married a couple times. I know what it's like to just give up and quit and those types of things. So love is actually what you're going to do in the moments when you don't want to do them anymore. And I think that when you have that mentality on a relationship, it could be your partner or anybody, it's, keeping the greater good or the higher thought to make sure that, you're giving all the love that you can. So
yeah. What I've picked up from both of you that's really beautiful is it's an unconditional, open heart, dive in. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional here because hear a couple talking like that, very often. And so I love that. It's really powerful that you both are on together and that you both work together, because it gives people a different vantage point of what true loving relationships can look like, right?
I think that we both always say too, and what we realize again, we'd never done before in romantic relationships and any relationships, is love is choosing. And I think that's something that's also a misconception. You know, we think, oh, you just fall in love and it's just love and it should be easy. And if it's not easy, then it's not real love. And, you know, blah, 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 here come the conditions. But it's choosing, and it's choosing yourself. I mean, all of us too. Why don't we experience love? Because we're all in our lowest self-worth most of the time and we don't even recognize it. So we're not even choosing ourselves to know that we can experience love. And it's choosing our partner constantly. Like Tate says, is every day, even the best relationship is not always rainbows. And your partner pisses you off and your partner triggers you and you're in your thing that day, and it's choosing, you know, you have to choose it to be there. And again, it comes back to presence. Be here, be present, choose it. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. So they run away from it. Oh, it didn't happen. It wasn't easy. I'm like, well, you have to choose it. It's like, well, and I think then the question is also, then how do I do that? You know, a lot of us don't know that either.
So I have another question, and Tate, if you, and also Tracy, if you guys want to ever say anything that the other one, you know, off of theirs, just let me know and go right in. So what I really am picking up here and admire is, besides the unconditional that we talked about, or the choosing, what is it like to open heart and still work through the thoughts, the conversations that are in your head?
Yeah, that's good. I think so. We worked very hard before meeting each other, I think, on getting ourselves to a point where, like, previously in life, that wasn't even a thought of how do you stay open in a conflict or an argument. And not that we haven't done our own share of conflict and disagreement. I mean, we just did this morning.
Everybody does, right?
The transition we've made, or the growth that we've made from our first few conflicts to what we do now, is night and day. And so it's about understanding that when you're open, when your heart is open, like, anything is possible. And even the old version of whoever you are, who was dead set on being right or always being the one that made their point, can change. And when you allow, you know, all of it to happen, it just makes the conversation that much easier, in my opinion.
I think for me, and I say this to all my clients too, that the heart, it's a revolving door. It has to be open and stay open to give and receive. You know, some of us think, oh, I'm a really good giver, or I'm a people, they think they are able to give it out, but they're really shut off, and they don't understand. They're not even giving what they think they are while they're closed. And if you want to receive love at the next level that you've never experienced, it's, again, a choice to keep it open. And that comes with an understanding that an open heart gets broken too, right? Like,
right.
It could come with, it's being vulnerable. So there can be pain, and there can still be hurt, and you can be disappointed, and you can be let down. And when you keep it open, though, the resolution comes so quickly. And when your partner could see you, oftentimes it changes really fast. When you close your heart, when your partner says something that you don't like, and all of a sudden now they're up here and you're both up here and you're both walled off, and now you're coming against each other. If you're able to stay open, not saying it's okay for your partner to hurt you, but I promise you, more often than not, when you're open and your partner's feeling you, they'll instantly be like, oh, I hurt you, rather than the defense. Because in your defense, like, I don't care if I hurt you, you hurt me, and now you're tit for tat. And, you know, and I think often too, open-hearted, it takes one of you going first. I mean, that's another thing about, we're not always going to be perfect no matter what, no matter how hard you work at this. You could be the coach, you could be a therapist, you could be whatever. We're not perfect at it. And I think we've realized that a lot. And it's just in all relationships, your brother, your sister, your best friend, one of you is always a little more awake in the moment than the other. And that person leads with the open heart. If you can open your heart first, you know, it's domino effect. Then, okay, oh, you're open, I'm open, we could stay open. So it's allowing for that leadership, deciding I can be vulnerable, because with some degree of hurt or upset is going to come even more love than I can imagine. And understanding that the payoff is more. So again, it's a choice. And I think it's a practice, because you have to be okay with it, but you learn again to roll with the punches. And I think that you start to see, because when we're in, shutting down, we go into fight or flight, we go into survival mode, and it feels like forever. I'm going to be hurting forever. My heart's going to be broken forever. And sometimes it's like, wow, I felt hurt for like 4 minutes. Like 4 minutes, I kept my heart open. And our 4 minutes, our fight was over, and we're right back. Or maybe that fight used to last you 4 weeks. I mean, I was in fights with my ex. We didn't talk, look at each other for 4 weeks, because both of us are closed off. Like, I am not turning towards you. There's no way I'm opening this heart for you. And now we could be literally like 4 minutes and we're laughing. It was like, oh, so it's a practice, but in a decision.
I love when people say it's a practice, because everyone thinks that whatever they want in life is going to be right there for them. And it's not. We have to become proficient at it, just like a musician or a ball player or a ballerina, right? It's practice, practice, practice. And if having emotional intelligence or self-love or a beautiful relationship is what you want, there's no price tag on it, right? But
yeah, exactly.
Who make millions, they do it to be proficient at what they do. So this is us wanting to be proficient. It takes some practice. And that's what people don't realize, because the subconscious begins to shift and set new patterns. And then, but then when they stop, what happens is it's like a car going down a hill in San Francisco without the brakes on, right?
Right.
Down, and then you have to go forward again. Talk a little bit about that.
Sorry.
Wasn't a specific question there.
Yeah.
But in the framework,
like the going forward and back.
Yeah, and how important it is to stay with the practices that you've committed. I guess again, it's a choice.
Yeah,
and it's
for sure
to self.
So I think this is, what we do with couples is we try to build kind of like a love roadmap, basically. And for Tracy and I, we started from the beginning of like, what is it that you need? What is it that I need? We come in the middle, but we have worked really hard on little like rituals, little things that, even when it's bad, it's a touch, to kind of get us to let the other person know we're not going anywhere. Tracy does this wonderful thing where she could be as mad at me as ever, but she still cooks me something for lunch. I know she's still checked in. She's still here.
My love language is acts of service. So he knows, like, if I could be like, but if I'm doing something to take care of him, that's my way of showing like my door isn't closed. I may be like angry at you, but my door is not closed right now.
But these little things that are so like critical to a relationship are so hard for people to figure out, to get, on the same page, where most people might go there. It's like a boxing match, they go to their corner, they figure out how they're going to come back in, and they figure out how they're going to manage their side of the argument. Where is if people actually came back with a sign of like, okay, I'm still here. It's a touch on the shoulder. It's a, if you're in bed and it's an argument, here's my toe touching your skin, something, we've made that decision early on to do these little things to keep the relationship as the priority for any argument. Nothing is more than what we care about each other,
And I think, though, again, the thing is, and it's probably always the opposite of what people want to hear. They want to, can you just give me that love pill? Like, how do I just fall in love and stay in love? Just like the diet pill and all the things, we want the pill, right? But again, it's knowing that it's work. And so to me, it's understanding that the 2 steps forward and the 2 steps back is normal, and being okay with that. And in all honesty, when you first start this, because it's so different, it's oftentimes, as we've totally experienced, it's 2 steps forward and like 40 steps back. And that's when it's hard, because it's like, it is that hill that you're talking about. And then you keep going, and then you actually end up in the bay, and then you're like, oh my God, now I'm drowning. So this is probably the worst idea ever. And it's deciding, wait a minute, I'm actually going to climb back up that hill. Because, it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I always tell this story. I used to manage this restaurant so many years ago when I was younger, and I used to sit outside and talk to this valet every day. He barely spoke any English, and we would just have these funny conversations. And one day his girlfriend came to drop him off lunch, and they were like fighting, but they're also kind of like kissing, and she's handing his lunch. And I'm like, what's going on here? And he was explaining, like, this is the love of my life, and we fight a lot. And he's like, I'll tell you, here's my advice for you. It's like, you will always fight with your person, always. And how you know it's your person is it's the one that you want to fight with. It's the one that it makes a difference to you. And I was not married or anything at the time. And it really hit me. And I've thought of that always. I always remember that conversation because it is true, because you're gonna fight and there's gonna be bumps and it's gonna be hard. But again, I think we all run away too quickly. I mean, again, there's certain stipulations, abusive relationships, all that. I'm not saying stick it out. But you know, I think that we would often see that if you understood that it's going to go forward and back, and sometimes you're going to slide down the hill, that again, at the end of it, there's the solution. And then how do you do that is, you know, like what Tate said, we set a foundation, we set rituals. Again, it's the going first often. And we're also not perfect at it, even though we teach it, you know, but it's like, sometimes we know what the thing is that we need to do. And it's still like, I am no, like my thing is always like, I'm always cooking. Me and Tate are like never not eating. Is like, it's crazy how much we eat in a day. So I'm always like cooking. And there's like the times where I'm like making my lunch. I'm like, I'm not going to make his lunch, and I won't. And then I'll start to eat it. And then I'm like, okay, got to go make his lunch, and I'll go back and I'll make it. Because he knows that that's my way. And, you know, so it's not always easy. And that's like what, like if anything I can convey to people, don't think it's going to be easy. Like I'm going to always be the person that says it the opposite way. I'm the tough lover, but don't think it's going to be easy. Don't expect a smooth road, because if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure. Not asking for doomsday, but be open. Just be open, allow it, you know, and knowing this doesn't mean anything. We have so many clients too that will happen. We had one in particular that we just ended our time with, and she would message us like 1,000 times a day because if her partner like breathed wrong or like looked to the, he breathed wrong. We're having a conversation and he took a deep breath and then he looked to the side, and then I'm pretty sure that we should probably just get a divorce. You know,
her thoughts are going crazy. That poor woman. Yeah.
It was intense. It was like a million messages. And we had to tell her that we have to take like all of our advice constantly was just, can you just take a breath? Like, let's just start with a breath, because it's going to happen. There's going to be the things that make you think, especially when you're triggered or you're vulnerable. Oh my gosh, this is it. But if we could pause and come back again to foundation, why are we here together?
Yeah.
Is it worth fighting it out with you?
Yeah.
What do we stand for as a couple? What does love mean to us? And
that's really beautiful, because when you have those foundational pieces, right, then like you said, you can go back to them. They're like your touchstone, right? You know
exactly.
100%.
Yeah. And I love that you were speaking about the love languages, because recently I realized that I have love languages that I want and languages that I like to give. And then there's my partner's love languages of what. And so it's more juicy than we even sometimes think.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Totally.
And it's really beautiful. I love that you spoke that you love to give like that. And because you probably like to receive, but you might like something more, right? Could be one of your intimate love languages. And so love is so vast in that way, that we have so many possibilities that can be ours. And I think it's really important to understand the love languages so that we can enjoy them and realize them. Most people don't even understand, since they haven't looked at love languages, they don't even understand how they're feeling until they review them and say, oh, that's me.
Totally.
I really like.
Right. I mean, it changes people's lives. Like it really, or I think at least, because we can go forever, especially if you're in a long-term relationship. You could have a lot of reoccurring problems where often we just feel like our partner doesn't get us, doesn't see us, doesn't love us, like, etc. And the partner on the other side, in their head is like, I give you everything. I do everything. I do everything. And we don't get that disconnect, because if you just want time, if your love language is time, I just need like one-on-one, look at my face, be in my presence time, and you have a busy partner, but they like shower you with gifts, and that's their way. And their head is like, I wish I could be with you, but I can't. So I'm going to send flowers, and I'll send this, and I'll blah, 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 blah. And they're thinking like, how does she not see? And then you on your side are like, he doesn't love me. And you're not getting that disconnect. So when you could discover that, it's like, oh my gosh, like this whole time, again, another reason I think that couples maybe turn the other way, because they don't understand, each other. And I think what we've discovered, and again, what we worked with clients is, I know for sure for myself from experience, like your love language can change to how your partner loves you. And again, being in that present love, I think it changes. And sometimes it won't. Sometimes you really just might be the thing, that example I gave, you could really be the time person. So then it's up to your partner again and their leadership to be like, okay, I have the crazy busiest job ever, but because it's time, I will figure out how to get you that time, even if it doesn't mean as much to them, but it means that much to you. So that's also, responsibility is everything in a, sacred union, a real conscious relationship, taking responsibility to give the thing. Because I think a lot of couples too would be frustrated, like, well, fine, okay, your time, I just don't have it. I gave you the gifts. I gave you this. I'm showing you too bad. And it's like, no, well, do you want it to work? How can you, even we use the word like negotiate, can we negotiate this one? Like, how can we, like a partnership, come up with a plan where we can meet in the middle? Maybe I could give you this much more time, or I take this time off, or I give you extra weekend or whatever.
Right.
But it's again, it all comes down to that effort to understand it, to share it, and to be willing to do the work. If you're not willing, if your partner's not willing as well, then there's not much you could do. It's the willingness.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to be pushing a dead horse up a hill. It's like one of you is here like, let's do it. And the other one's like, good. I'm like, there's your cue.
Yeah.
Well, it's about, for me, it's about understanding so I think a lot of people think they should give what their love language is to the person, and they don't understand what theirs is. So, and this is all stuff that we learn as we grow up. We don't even understand what we've learned just because it's been subconscious since we were a kid. And when you finally understand what yours is from your, how you were raised or how your upbringing was, then you can start to understand, oh, I get why I'm doing these things. And now I can understand why this person needs this. So it is interesting how a little book that has 5 little things, it can change your relationship if you just begin to understand not only yourself, but your partner,
Yeah. Before we started recording, we were talking about self-love. And since you guys are a couple, I want to ask, do you have or experience together self-love acts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we're
it can be self-care acts too.
Yeah, I think we're very conscious. I mean, we're both like health nuts, fitness nuts. And I think we're very conscious about making sure we each have time to ourselves to take care of ourselves. We're big in physical taking care of ourselves, because we know at the end of the day, when you feel good in your body, you're probably going to feel good all around. So I think we're very respectful of each other's time in that matter. We both wake up at 4 a.m. We read, we meditate, we do the whole thing so that we know we're prepared for the day. Like, we don't wake up at 9 and get out of bed and start complaining about the day. We have a plan. We make sure that when we're up in the morning, we're doing a routine, and it changed our life. I mean, I think in our relationship. And
well, I mean, that was already kind of my routine.
Well, so that's like an act of self, like, okay, I'm going to make this commitment to myself, so that, and you're showing up for your partner too. A lot of partners go their separate ways at 8 a.m. or whatever it might be. We've chosen, like, in the morning, like, even when we're not together, it's, through text messages or phone calls, or I know at 4 a.m. she started reading. She knows I started reading. It's these things that we've built that I think respect each other.
Cool.
So, yeah.
But also on a, like emotional and spiritual level, as because I think that's self-care, self-love. It's like they go together, but I think they're also separate. And for us, even if we go back to the first question about love, and we've talked about this many times, I don't think I ever fully loved myself as to where, to a degree, I'm going to start crying, where I'm sitting here right now, until we met. And that's how I knew that this was actual unconditional love, like I've never felt before, because from the very beginning, and I think the same for Tate, I started to see myself actually how he saw me. And I think it's because for the first time in my life, I allowed myself to be so open-hearted. And when I saw how he saw me, I came to the highest level self-acceptance I've ever had. And I think we both had that for ourselves. And so again, just like everything, it's a practice, and no one could ever think we'd love to all just vibrate here our whole lives and be in our worthiness and all that, but it just doesn't happen. You fall. And on the times that we do fall, a practice that we have also, because we live by all these practice and rituals, is kind of airing our shame and then helping support each other in that, which I think is one of the most self-loving things we do. So it's like having the day, I particularly, like, I'll be vulnerable, like I punish myself a lot, like my thoughts, or I work out too hard or something. It's like my childhood thing. So I'll get into a real self-punishing mode if I get really low self-worth. And in the old days, that'd be something I would handle by myself. And so the way I help myself is to share it with Tate, and I'll out the shame. Like, that's what we call it. Like, oh, my shame for today is I feel like I need to punish myself. I need to work harder. I'm not doing enough. All of a sudden I feel like a failure of a mom, whatever I have going, and again, he can't see that's something I know, but he can remind me, this is who you really are. You need to give your break. Like, I was just sick for 5 weeks. I couldn't get over it. And he had to be like, okay, you're in some kind of punishment zone because you won't lay down and you've never been this sick before. And it's like, oh yeah. And then that helps me come back to myself and then give myself what I need, which is, okay, Tracy, you deserve to take a chill and tell myself all the good things. So I think that's a really important thing that we do too, is by recognizing those things in each other. Again, it comes from a lot of brutal honesty. It's not the easiest thing to look at somebody and out your shame. Like, if you listen to Brene Brown, her whole thing is shame is what, just drives everything. So I have to sit there and be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling today. But on the other end of that, again, is like the heart opening, like, and then the love comes back in, and we can support each other in that.
Yeah. Very, very lovely. Thank you guys for sharing that. I know that sometimes that stuff's kind of intimate, so thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So time is running out here.
Yes.
They do, and they're fun conversations.
Yes.
Can you share with us, and they're also in the credits at the end, but can you share with us how people can reach you?
Yeah, so our website is www.thematchagency.love, which is going to have all of our goodies and what we do and all that stuff.
Programs.
You can find us on Instagram. I'm at Tate Kerkhoff. She's at Tracy LaFleur. You can find us on Facebook at Tate and Tracy Coaching. That's pretty much it.
Great.
That is it.
And so what would each of you like to share with the audience that we haven't talked about, or that we have, whatever's on your heart, before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I think our main goal, our message is our story. We, it's in the Hollywood world we live in. I know a lot of people think that when they see a couple in love, it's, fake or fleeting or whatever, but our message has always been our story. And we are pretty candid about it not always being glamorous and perfect, but for me, and I think this is kind of the greatest time in human history to be in love, because everybody's kind of waking up to what's going on in the world and how things are moving. And it's like the perfect time to like join forces with someone for the long term. And when you put the effort in, and you can recognize that there's so much more reward in working out a relationship versus ending it and trying something new every 5 minutes or whatever it is. That's kind of where our message and our story, I think, resonates with a lot of people nowadays, because we're just trying to show people that it's possible. And yeah,
it's beautiful.
I would share that, again, our message, our purpose, our name of our company is, I think it's assumed like match and matchmaking. That's part of it, but it's really for you to become your aligned match. Something that we're so huge on, and how we know we found each other in our healing journey, is manifestation. We are all these energetic beings, and wherever you are vibrating is what you attract. And so we are here to share that message, and we're here to help you become the perfect match to whatever that is, be it your partner, be it the partner that you already have. It could be bringing the husband and wife back together, saying you are the match already. And for some of us that are in that low self-worth, again, which is me, almost 41 years of my life, you becoming the perfect match to yourself. Like, I'm going to raise my vibration here. I am the match that I'm looking for. And when you're at that vibe, it's like, you know, everything happens. So all of our different programs are different. We have one-on-one coaching, all the things. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do underneath, is just help everyone become that aligned match to everything that they're looking for.
I love that. That's my thing too about relationships. It's so important, because if you don't vibrate, and you know what I'm saying, you grow yourself, and then you're attracting that. And so even when we put out our lists, right, of what we want to create in a partner, we have to become that in order.
Exactly. Yep.
My husband and I shared our lists when we first were together, I think 12 years ago, when we were dating. I think it was about 12 years ago. And we had the exact same list, but one thing. And that one thing was the thing that got in the way a lot.
Yeah.
Until we worked through it. But it's incredible when you do that, when you align yourself to what you absolutely want and to be, because I love that you guys are so, both of you together are so into the journey of the self-discovery and understanding that comes from within you first.
100%. Yep.
Never find it in our partner until we grow to a place that we can move together instead of clinging. And
exactly.
Yeah, well said.
You guys are on in alignment with that. It's really beautiful. So thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you. And we'll see you in another episode.
All right. Bye. Great day.